Hello everyone, I welcome you to the SYB Special Paper 4. In this lecture, we are going to talk about or discuss a critique from neoclassical age or neoclassical period. So neoclassical criticism or neoclassical age is the period which is the span of more than 100 years, which lasts from 1660 to 1785. So 1660 to 1785. This age or this period is referred as or called as neoclassical age. Then further, this age is divided into a different class like 1660 to 1700 Restoration age, then 1700 to 1745 Augustan age, 1745 to 1785 Age of Sensibility or Age of Johnsons. So preface to Shakespeare is work by Dr. Samuel Johnson. So Dr. Samuel Johnson was born in 1709 and died in 1784. In preface to Shakespeare, Dr. Johnson tries to defend the use of tragic and comic by Shakespeare in the same play. So Dr. Samuel Johnson was a pioneer in the field of biographical criticism. So he is the person who is considered as the pioneer of the field of biographical criticism. So biographical criticism seeks to evaluate the work of writer in the light of the facts of his life. The present criticism or the present work that is preface to Shakespeare. Here the Dr. Samuel Johnson tells us about the merits, demerits and also advocates the use of tragic and comic by the Shakespeare. Shakespeare has been charged for using tragic and comic in the same play. According to the critic, the tragic and comic, when it is used in the same play, it lightens or it makes the impact lower, it weakens the impact. So tragedy and comedy cannot be mingled or cannot be put in a single play together. So this charge, which was laid against the Shakespeare by the criticism, have been defended by Dr. Samuel Johnson through his work Preface to Shakespeare. In Preface to Shakespeare, Samuel Johnson asserts that Shakespeare is different from other writers because Shakespeare's works are true to nature, his works are realistic, then his work contains practical wisdom, then knowledge of human psychology in his work. We can come across the element of psychology or the knowledge of human psychology and the characterization. So these are the important aspects that has been presented by Dr. Samuel Johnson, and he tells that Shakespeare is different from others as far as truth to nature is concerned, realism is concerned, practical wisdom is concerned, knowledge of human psychology is concerned, and characterization is concerned. So Shakespeare is great for just a representation of general human nature. So Dr. Samuel Johnson asserts that Shakespeare is different from other dramatists of his time because in his plays there is a just representation of general human nature. Then he talks about his characters. So his characters are faithful representative of humanity. So characters of Shakespeare represent humanity, and this is the faithful representation of humanity. Then characters of Shakespeare deals with passions and principles which are common to humanity. So in the characters of Shakespeare one may find the principles and the passions which are common, which can be found in every individual. After that, the characters of Shakespeare are true to age, true to sex and true to profession. His works are storehouse and practical axioms and domestic wisdom. His plays are just a representation of human nature. His characters are not exaggerated. They have common feelings and virtues of humanity. So characters of Shakespeare are the characters which can be found everywhere. So characters represents the common feelings of human beings. The characters represent or shows the virtues of humanity. It is said that he has only heroes. Sorry, he has no heroes but only human beings. So Johnson tries to defend the Shakespeare, and we are going to discuss how Shakespeare defends the how Johnson defends the Shakespeare for using a tragic and comic in the same play. So according to Johnson, Shakespeare stands different. Shakespeare deviates from the Johnson deviates from the neoclassical critics of his time. So neoclassical critics of Johnson's times has different standpoint. They have different principles as far as the criticism is concerned, but Dr. Johnson's place is different in neoclassical school of criticism. So Dr. Johnson defends the Shakespeare's mingling of tragic and comic in a play. According to Johnson, Shakespeare has represented actual state of life. So Samuel Johnson asserts that, Samuel Johnson propagates that, or Samuel Johnson says that. So Shakespeare's plays, when he presents the tragic and comic in the same place, he does not violate any rules of criticism or any rules of literature. On the contrary, he represents the actual state of human life. So on the earth, human life itself is the combination of good and evil, joy and sorrow. So we know that human life cannot be all the time be joyous, human life cannot be all the time sorrowful. So there are going to be both joy and there are going to be sorrow in the life of human beings. So Shakespeare's plays represent the actual state or actual nature of human beings. So human beings' joys and sorrow can be found in the Shakespeare's play. So Shakespeare does not violate anything or anything which is against the law of criticism, which is against the law of play. So the ancient writers separated the opposite factors in real life. So joy and sorrow, then evil and good. These are the opposing factors. So ancient critics separated them. They have either believed that there should be joyous thing or comic thing in the play, or there should be only tragic element in the play. They cannot come together. They cannot be combined together or brought together in the play. So Johnson is different from his contemporaries, from his neoclassical critics, because he supported the use of comic and tragic by Shakespeare in the same play, in the same drama, in the same play. So actual state of life is represented by Shakespeare in his play, because life can be joyous, life can be sorrowful, life can be evil, life can be good. So neoclassical tradition, the criticism or the critic of the Johnson's time criticizes Shakespeare. On the contrary, Johnson defends Shakespeare for using tragic and comedy. Then according to Johnson, the Shakespeare's plays are actual representation of life. So Johnson said that Shakespeare had not committed any breach of rules. He had not violated any rules, but he was only exhibiting the real state of nature. Shakespeare has represented actual state of life on the earth. So actual state of life on the earth consists both good and evil, joy and sorrow. So this joy and sorrow, evil and good are mingled with endless variety of proportion, and Shakespeare aptly represented the mixing of, the blending of joy and sorrow, evil and good in his plays. So in this sense, Shakespeare approached the actual life. Then according to Dr. Samuel Johnson, Shakespeare reflected real life. So Shakespeare's characters in the same play is shown joyful at one time and some at the serious at the other time. So Shakespeare reflected real life in his play by presentation of joyful character at one time and serious at one time in the same play. So the accusation was that, charge was that the mixing of this tragic and comic in the same play, the bringing together of tragic and comic, the emotional effect is weakened by use of tragic and comic in the same play. Though Dr. Johnson does not agree with this view. So according to Dr. Johnson, the use of the mingling of tragic and comic in the same play does not weaken the emotional effect of the play. They are not contrary, they are not opposing. So he says, he believes that it is contrary to the actual experience of the playgoers. So all pleasures consist in variety. It means that there cannot be only depiction of joy, there cannot be only depiction of sorrow in the play. So there should be the variation of different sort of emotions. There should be the depiction of evil and good. There should be depiction of joy and sorrow in the same play. So here the example of play Hamlet is given. In Hamlet play, it is a tragic play, and this tragic effect is weakened by the entrance or the remark by the Polonius. So Shakespeare has been criticized for mingling of tragic and comic in his play. On the contrary, Dr. Samuel Johnson defends him. Then Shakespeare is true to nature. According to Samuel Johnson, Shakespeare is true to nature. In real life also there is a mingling of tears and smiles. There is a mingling of joy and sorrow. There is a mingling of evil and good. So Shakespeare holds mirrors to the nature. Then the Samuel Johnson asserts that tragedy and comedic means tragedy and comedy is nearer to life than only the tragedy or comedy. In tragedy and comedy, the high and low combine, both for instructions and pleasure. The objective of literature can be to instruct or to provide a pleasure by the bringing together, by combining together, by putting together tragic and comic element. Tragic and comedy, the high and low combine for both instructions and pleasure, and they are nearer to life. The interchange of tragic and comic does not interrupt the progress of the passion. So in a play one can see that there can be interchange of tragic and comic in the play, but this interchange of the passions does not affect the progress of the play. It does not result in weakening of effect. All pleasure consists of variety. Tragedy and comedy can satisfy a greater variety of taste. Not only this, but Dr. Johnson also defends the three unities of Shakespeare. So unity of time, unity of action, and unity of place have been observed or followed by Shakespeare in his play. Dr. Johnson says that Shakespeare preserved unity of action in his play in accordance with Aristotle's requirement. He regards the unity of action is essential for the drama. Shakespeare was justified in the violation of unity of time and place.